Self-respect, do this. And I've been on this journey for the last 8 years now of becoming the man that I respect and admire. So I can tell you exactly what I've done over the last 8 years to go from a kid who was super insecure, small, weak-minded. I would always escape to my bad habits and vices and just never overcame the traumas that I had from my childhood. All these things that most people go through, they carry with them. They carry this extra baggage on them day to day. These men, they walk around life literally their entire life carrying that extra baggage. And I just was sick and tired of holding it. So I began that journey 8 years ago of becoming the man that I respect and admire. And I'll tell you exactly what I did to go from that man to who it is I am now, how I've been able to gain self respect. I've made more money than I've ever made in my entire life. I've attracted better relationships, business partners, females, and I've obviously, byproduct of all that, have gotten a better physique and a stronger mind too. I use my body as a tool to sharpen my mind. But the first thing that I did is I just got clear on who I was, exactly who I was, all of the fucked up shit that I've done, the things that I've gone through, the things that I've done to other people that I'm not proud of, the things that I was escaping to, the habits, the bad habits that I was doing. I just put it all out there on the line. I put the truth out there, and it's hard in the beginning, but the truth will set you free. They talk about that in the Bible. So I got very clear on who I was, and then I wrote out who I wanted to be, the man that I respect, the man that I'd admire, the the man that I'd want my daughter to marry. Like, what kind of characteristic traits does he have? How does he think? How does he handle his emotions? How does he act? What does he do on a day-to-day basis? What does his day-to-day look like? And I wrote out exactly who I wanted to become, the man that I wanted to become. And then once I got clear on who I was and who I wanted to be, I reverse engineered the process. I aligned my mind, body, and spirit with that man, that I wanted to be. So I've created these programs, that I could then give to you if you want me to work with you one on one. I do one on one coaching, but basically, a couple of the programs I'll name out, like I've worked out 2 times every day. In the morning, I do compound lifts. At night, I do calisthenics. And I used my body as a tool to sharpen my mind. I didn't work out for the physique. The physique was a byproduct of the mind that I've developed. And I would bring up all of those past experiences, all of the messed up stuff that I've done in my life and I've done to other people when I was training my body. And I was able to look at the problems through a logical point of view. So I would work out 2 times a day in the morning and night every single day for years. I did that. And then from there, I would also take walks. I would take walks pretty much every night, almost 10,000 steps I would do, which is a couple miles a day. I would just take walks and I'd have conversations with God. I believe you cannot do, if you want to become the man that you respect and admire, you have to fear God. You have to fear a God. I believe that. Because if you don't fear a God, you're going to do hideous things that are going to prevent you from actually becoming the man deep down that you know you could be. I believe when we die, we this is how it works. We meet God, and standing next to God is the man that you could have been. He did all these things. He's achieved all these great things. He's done all this stuff, these accolades, and just became an amazing person and helped a lot of people raise the family, made all this money, built these businesses, donated here, donated there, was in amazing shape, super smart, wise, like great friend, did all of these things. And God's like, that's who I created you to be. And in that moment you're like, that's not me. That's I don't even know who that person is. That's in that moment you're going to realize that's hell and that's heaven. So the goal here is to close that gap from who you are right now to who God created you to be. So I build that relationship with God when I take those walks. I talk to him. I express gratitude every single day, even for the bad things that go on in my life. Like, without the good, without the bad, there is no good. And without the good, there is no bad. Like, you have to have both. And it makes, when you go through the hard times in life, it makes you appreciate the good that much more. So I would take those walks, I would give gratitude, I'd ask questions. And in the beginning, it was hard for me to hear God, but as I got more into his word, into his readings, I started to hear that little quiet voice in the back, and I just started to pick up on that. And I just started to follow his plan. There's your plan, and then there's his plan. His plan is always right. His timing is perfect. So I stopped trying to be God and I just let him be God. And I'm just a vessel. Over the years, I learned that I'm just a vessel and God's working to and through me. But I would take those walks, I'd do those workouts, I'd have I would literally get around people who had results that I wanted. In certain, so they may not have the financial results that I wanted, but the they had the aesthetic, they had the physique that I wanted. So I would go to them for those type of questions. If they had the financial results that I wanted, but they didn't have the relationship advice that I wanted, I wouldn't ask them about relationship advice. I would just ask them about financial advice. It's called consider the source. If you buy somebody's opinion, you have to buy the lifestyle. Be careful with whose opinions that you're listening to. You wouldn't you wouldn't take financial advice from someone who has no money. Same with you wouldn't take weight loss advice from somebody who's overweight. So that's the framework that I used when it came to getting around people who had the results that I wanted. I would get around people that had the physique, people that had the financial results, people that had the spiritual connection with God. And I would just ask them questions. I'd build a relationship with them and see how they look at certain situations. It gave me great perspective on the situation that I was going through, the situations that I've gone through over the last 8 years of my life. Like that helped me. It saved me a lot of pain, a lot of time, a lot of money, uh, by just getting around people who had what I wanted. You can collapse time frames by doing that. So I did that. I also switched up my entire diet. Your diet isn't just going to make your physique change. It's also going to change the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that you act. I mean, look out there. Like this is part of the enemy of mine that I wrote down is the system, man. The system, they feed you this type of food, these processed foods to control your mind. I eat just whole foods. And over the last 8 years, my diet's been pretty similar. Pretty similar. Obviously, it's changed a little bit with like the amount of food that I eat, but it's like 5 eggs in the morning, Greek yogurt. I have a bunch of fruit throughout the day, like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. That's kind of like my snacks. Um, I have about a pound and a half of breast chicken, along with some cheese, maybe a little bit of carbs, some vegetables. And then for dinner is like a pound of ground beef or 16-ounce ribeye steak. I'll do that. And it's like we're pushing almost 300 grams of protein a day. So like I said in the beginning, it wasn't always like that. But what I'm the overarching message here is like eat whole foods, eat real foods. You don't need you look at chicken should only have one ingredient. That's the whole point that I'm trying to make here. It shouldn't have 40 ingredients. Like you go to Chick-fil-A and you see on the back 40 ingredients for a chicken. Like what? You know what I mean? And they do that. They put all this stuff in the food to mess with your mind. And that's why you have to hop on these pills. And the pills, are no good for you either. Look at the whole pharmaceutical industry. That's another enemy of mine. Or the people that talk about like how there's should be multiple like all these industries out there. That's what I'm competing against. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm creating this for you so I can help build a team, build an army. We can fight against those people. And these are just beliefs and daily habits that I've built and instilled on a couple other people over the last 8 years of my life. But yeah, whole foods, that's really important. Obviously, reflections with God, going for walks, and then I would journal. I would journal almost every single day, just random things, maybe things that I'm going through in my personal life. I would journal, um, my older self. Like I would picture myself 85 years old, sitting on a rocking chair overlooking my lake home, and I would ask him he would how he would view the way that I live my day that day. I would write that down. I would also write letters to my son. I got that inspiration from John D. Rockefeller. There's a book, I think it's 33 Letters to My Son. I got that inspiration. I'm like, ooh, let me recreate that for my future family, my future son. And I just write letters to him every single day so he can collapse time frames so he doesn't have to make the same mistakes that I made. Stop trying to learn from your own mistakes. Just learn from other people's mistakes. And I think the reason why I didn't excel faster is because I was too arrogant. I thought that I knew best, and that's that's just not the case. I think it was Marcus Aurelius that said it. All I know is that I know nothing. Like, I'm open to criticism. I'm open to getting better. I don't know everything. And I've been on this journey for 8 years now to becoming the man that I respect and admire. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Like, obviously, this may not completely resonate with you. Maybe you get a couple things out of it. Like, that's exactly how I view mentorship. Going back to what I was saying before, I got around people who had results that I wanted. I would take the best and leave the rest. I would take the best of someone and I would leave the rest. So I would do that. I would also pull up to like a coffee shop, or just once a week, I would look back at all of the notes, all of the videos, because while I was doing all of these programs that I was following on a day-to-day basis, I was documenting it. So like the gym session, I would document that. I would get videos of it. I would write notes. I would make videos of the mindset. I would write in notes on my phone the reflection letters of God. Like, I would write all this stuff down. I would make all these videos so I would have it all, this information right here at disposal. And I would, once a week, I would look back at all of that information and I would catch trends, because they say success leaves clues. I would catch these trends of things that I was doing. I was spending maybe a little bit too much time here, or I had too many thoughts on this one thing. Okay, I need to work. I need to work on that. Like, it just exposed everything, is what I'm saying. When I documented everything, and by me documenting everything, I was able to have all this content I was creating, which then helped me grow my other businesses too. Like, that's one of the underlying things here, is like, you can literally build a personal brand by just documenting your journey of becoming the man that you respect and admire. You can monetize that. So I did that once a week. I would go over all of the letters, all the videos, all the notes, everything, and I could just see the patterns. I could catch the trends, and I would fix and adjust with what was needed. And just over time, I just trusted the process. I completely detached myself from the outcome, and I just fell in love with doing the work. Every time that I stopped doing that, every time that I detached, I put my worth, my sense of worth in the outcome, was when I lost myself. Every time over the last 8 years, I'm like, you know what? I want to make more. I want to make money and do this and do that. And like, that was the goal, and that's all I wanted to do. Every time I did that, one, I got it maybe a little bit of success, but then I'd go right back to zero. And the reason why is because it's because I didn't have I it's because I stopped doing the things that got me to where it is that I was. So maybe I got that, and then I stopped doing the day-to-day things, those daily programs, that a couple of them that I was just mentioning to you. I stopped doing that. So I lost respect with myself, and then I ended up losing that very thing. So I now just take all of my sense of worth and just put it into the work, the daily, keyword daily work. You have to earn that sense of worth every single day. And it's a bitch, but it's uh it's the best thing that I've came across so far to build myself into the man that I am now. I get my validation from the work that I do every single day, from the thoughts that I think every single day. I completely detached myself from the outcome. The outcome is irrelevant to me. Obviously, it's nice. It enhances everything too. If you just follow this process and you completely forget about the time that it takes to get to where it is that you want to go, and you just fall in love with doing the work and becoming the man that you respect and the man that you admire every single day, you'll then get everything else. You'll get everything else. You'll attract better relationships, better women. You'll have a better physique, mentally and physically. You'll make more money. You'll have all the external stuff, I believe, will be added on to you. Jim Rohn, he talks about it. He said, if you want to make a living, work on your job. If you want to make a fortune, work on your business. In other words, work on yourself. If you want to make a living, work on, oh no, he said, if you want to make a living, work on your job. If you want to make a fortune, work on yourself. Sorry, that's what he said. But I think you get what I'm saying with, like, stop prioritizing your work and the outcome, and just prioritize becoming the man that you respect and you admire. And if you just follow this exact blueprint, you figure out who you are right now, who you want to be, and you do the daily process, you reverse engineer, okay, that man would do this every single day. He would think these thoughts every single day. He would write these notes. He would do these videos. He would do this. He would do that. And you just figure out exactly who you need to be to become that man. And you just follow suit with it. You completely forget about the timeline that it takes and you just do the work that's required. And over time, by doing that, you will then become that person. And when you die one day, as we all are, you'll meet God. And standing next to him is that man that you are right now. He said, good and faithful servant. Boom. You just got your key into heaven, man. Now you have eternal life. That's how I believe that works. So I coach people one on one. I help them lay out exactly the man that they are, the man that they want to be, and I help them reverse engineer that process and I hold them accountable to that. And by doing that, they develop self accountability, they develop self respect, and they just live an overall better life. They make more money, they attract better relationships, and they get in a better shape with they get in better shape by doing that. And you wouldn't be doing it alone because I do it. I practice what I preach. I walk the walk and I talk the talk and I walk the walk. Like if we work together, you decide to partner up with me, I charge people $500 a month for this. So you could click the link in my description, get started. Once you're in, I can walk you through the onboarding process. We can get this thing rocking and rolling. But I do this because it's a calling of mine. I've built a marketing business that I still do, that I've been doing for the last 8 years now. That's my main thing. But this is something that I do on the side because I know that I know that you can make all the money in the world, but if you don't respect yourself, it's worthless. Like that's why I developed the program and I created it. Can't be bought. It's not a man that will sell out. It's not a man that will take shortcuts. Like you just do the work and you fall in love with the process and you eventually will become, you get your value from doing the work every single day, from doing the hard work that most people avoid. And that's why most men don't like themselves. They can't look in the mirror. They don't like how they look. They don't like how they think. They don't like how they act. They don't like how they treat people. They settle for less. Like they have all these things. They chase all these vices and they are on these processed food, all this medication. They're doing all this stuff. They're scrolling on TikTok all day. They got TikTok brain rot. They got all this shit. And I help men drop all of that and just become the man that they respect and admire. And I walk you through the process day by day. And I will literally send my documents. I'll send you my notes, my videos, my workouts, my diet every single day. And you're gonna literally, I'm gonna lead from the front and show you how to do it. And every week we'll do these, I like to call them the war room calls. We'll go over everything, what's working, what's not working, what needs to be fixed, what doesn't need to be fixed, and we just follow through that every single day.